Now, when you were doing these smaller
Yeah,
angel checks or the first checks in, they probably didn't have anything going, right?
that's right.
So more people based
That's right.
investing.
And I think that actually that's the key point. I think that also translates into our work at Greylock. I mean, fundamentally here it's a people business, and we're looking for world-class people to work with. And many of the companies we've done here at Greylock, and companies I've personally done, are companies where we have started with just one individual, an individual that has a gleam in their eye, that has high integrity, is highly motivated, and
And,
wants to
and
build
so
something
let's
new.
talk about that because you'll do investments here now at let's say the A round,
Right,
later stage
exactly.
rounds, and you'll also do formation, right?
That's right.
So how do you decide how you're going to work, in those cases? Because the level of commitment and also the money you're putting behind it, right,
Yes.
is totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've done a lot of work here on the early stage side,
Okay.
where basically, like let's say you're a really bright engineer out of a company that's of interest to us, in a segment that's of interest to us, and we get to know each other, we build a friendship, right? And then one day either I approach you or you approach me and say, hey, what about this idea, right? And what do you think of this or this particular way to build a new product?
Right.
And it literally just starts from that. And then we kind of get together, have a whiteboard discussion. We'll convert that into a PowerPoint, go talk to a few customers, and Greylock will write a multi-million-dollar check, and we work collaboratively and closely with you to start building an engineering team. So examples, just some personal examples around this. So Palo Alto Networks actually began this way with my friend Nir Zook, going back to,
So
let's say,
that was a formation play.
exactly. That was a
Okay.
formation play. The first check was $250,000, covered Nir's salary for for a little over a year, and basically Nir came in without an idea, and then we began kind of cycling on different ideas. In that particular case, jointly with Sequoia, with a friend, my friend with my friend Jim Getz at Sequoia, and we basically went out, talked to a number of customers, and got convinced that there's an opportunity to build the next generation firewall.
And
And
then
then we, yeah.
and then how does your involvement change when okay, so Near comes in, someone you get to know,
Yeah.
you're doing almost formation level work, right? And very deep for a year
Yes.
versus investing in that company had you found it at the Series B or Series C level, which you
Yes.
also make those
Absolutely.
investments
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Yeah, so just to continue on the A level for a moment and then
Okay,
come back to
sure,
the B and
sure.
the C. So on the A side, so Palo Alto is one example. Another example would be Sumo Logic, where we thought there would be an opportunity for a cloud-based log management and analytics company. And so we went out looking for people in that particular case. Talked to somebody at Webroot, he connected me to somebody at Microsoft, he connected me to somebody at Splunk, who connected me to somebody at ArcSight, and that's how actually I encountered Christian Beedgun. And then Christian, connected us to Kumar, and then a few months later, we started a new company with Christian and Kumar,
So
Sumo Logic.
you went in like a market based approach.
Exactly. We
Okay.
went looking for the person, and we went, smart engineer to smart engineer, who eventually led us to an extraordinary person, who had a shared vision around this. Uh, and then sometimes what happens is an extraordinary individual approaches us, and this would be the example of the story of App Dynamics, Jyoti Bansal, or Jed Ewer at Delphix. We have many others in our portfolio where an exceptional young individual kind of approaches us with a with an amazing way to kind of build a new opportunity. Or just another example, we had a discussion actually in this conference room yesterday with a prominent executive in a prominent company, and there was a 1 hour whiteboard discussion yesterday, and the gentleman will be back next week, and we're going to have some more whiteboarding, and we don't know where this leads. Maybe this leads to a new entrepreneur and resident relationship.
Great.
So and maybe there'll be a new company a year from now, or so we hope, right? So continuing on the other part of your question, just in terms of so we're very active. So one of the advantages of the Greylock platform is it gives us the flexibility to invest at any stage. So we invest at the seed level, at the Series A level, BC rounds and growth rounds as well, right? So and the size of our fund also gives us the flexibility to write small and large checks.
So
So
so at the later stages, how does your involvement change?
yeah. So we still it does vary, but typically we look for outstanding individuals that are building franchises that can be significant, and where we have high personal interest in both working with the individual and in the franchise, and where we can make a contribution. So we typically are not passive investors. We're typically investors where there's a meeting of the minds between the CEOs, the founders, the management teams, and ourselves, and we like to work kind of hand in hand, side by side, those teams. And earlier on, it might be engineering recruiting. Later on, it might be sales, marketing, organizational recruiting or board level, recruiting. Early on, it might be about getting the early customers. Later on, it might be more strategic work about other areas.